I'm your host, Sean McKenzie. Thank you for joining me once again on my channel on data engineering. In this episode, we go back to our Microsoft Access playlist, and we're going to take a look at RecordsetClone. Now, RecordsetClone is a really handy feature that you can use as a developer in order to look into the forms and the record sets that are already open when the user is using the database. So for example, if you have a continuous form that is open, sometimes the user has already used the filters on screen and they've reduced a list or added some criteria or something like that. And that makes it very, very hard if you have to actually get some information to do some programming task or something like that. And that's what RecordsetClone is for. Let's get to it. Want to help support my work? Make sure to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description. Okay guys, fun one today. This is the Northwind Traders Starter Edition. Many thanks to Microsoft for providing these training databases that we can work on. And I have added a user to that. You can grab that. It's a free download. Super cool. And there's also a developer edition, which is great for working on some more complex stuff. Now you can see there are some filters on this order screen here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to grab one of these orders. So you can see there's sort of a menu on the left hand side here, and you can click on these individual orders here, and that's what we're going to work with today. So we're going to open this orders form, and on the right side you can see that there's a subform, and we're going to use that subform just for demonstration. Right now it has recent orders attached to it, and you can filter it by the modified date, customer, and some other things on the side there. But we are just going to go right ahead and right click and go onto the design view of that form, and we can take a look and see what we have here. So this is a pretty standard looking form. They've developed this nice little starter edition database. It has some cool stuff in it. And you can see on the right hand side there is a recent orders subform, and that subform is in continuous form mode, so it opens as a list. But what we're going to do is we'll grab from our form design ribbon there, we're going to grab a button from our toolbox, and we're going to put that onto the main form. So we're going to work with the subform from the main form. This is a good learning exercise for a lot of you guys who have not done this yet. And we'll give this button a name. We'll call it CMD sub info. And now there's going to be an event click there. But before I do that, I'll grab the format here and I'll add a caption to it. And I'll just call it our info button for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate going into the subform that's opened already, and we're going to get some information from there. So we'll go to our event tab, we're going to click on the ellipsis, open that up, and then choose the code builder, and away we go. Now as usual, if you've watched my videos, you'll see that opens right up into our own little subroutine at the bottom there. And you can see that there is the coding that was included with this little test database, and you can also see that they're using some numbering, which is kind of interesting. We don't usually see that in our VBA, but I think it's cool that they are sticking to their basic programming language roots there. That's kind of cool, but we're going to bypass that today because we're sort of doing our standard style of coding here. So what we're going to do is we'll add a nice comment at the top there. It says checks for the subform on the fly. That's at the top of our subroutine, which is closer to the bottom of the screen there. But we're going to make some variables, and we're going to make a RSC variable. That's going to be a DAO record set. That's going to stand for RecordsetClone. And we're also going to use a subform. Now if you have not seen my videos on subforms, I do go through a lot of subforms, and I have a specific video about how to use the fsub and form variables, so make sure you check that out. And we're going to add an items variable, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the number of items that are currently displayed in a particular list, and that's going to help us out. So the first thing we're going to do is set that fsub variable to the name of the subform, and that is sfrm order in this case, so using some LNC notation by the looks of it. I like that. So we're going to have me exclamation SFRM order, and that's going to be our subform variable. We're going to load that up, and then we'll set the RecordsetClone equal to the form, or the subform's form, and we'll get the record set from that, and that's going to be the RecordsetClone. So now we're going to get a clone of whatever's open on the subform, which is really awesome. And that's going to allow us to loop through and do things, or you can look up information. You can even make changes in the background. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to open that, and we're going to close it at the end. We'll do that RSC close and set RSC equal to nothing, and then we can get started with the actual data here. So we'll load up that items as a 0, and then we're going to do a simple loop for this one. What we're going to do is we're going to loop through all of the records that are currently displayed in the subform. So whether the user filtered it or not, we're going to loop through that, and we're going to be able to tell exactly what's going on there. Now I'm going to loop it here, but you could also just RSC.move last, RSC move first, and then get the count, and then get the RSC.record count. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through just for fun. So there we go. We're going to do a do until RSC.EOF. We'll add up our item. We'll go items is items plus 1. Then we'll move next. And then at the very end, we'll give a message here saying, this is the number of items we found, and we are good to go. And I will note that you can also look into the record on each of those passes with the loop. You can look at what's in the fields by doing RSC exclamation and then field name and things like that. But to get started, this is where we're at. We set our subform equal to the subform on the form, set the record set equal to the record set clone of the form, then initialize our items count variable there, the long integer, and then we'll do a loop where we loop through the record set clone, adding up that item integer and moving to the next one each time. Then we're going to close it and give a message. That's all we're going to do on this pass, and we shall see how that works. So let's save that. We'll close it, and what we're going to do is each time we test this, we're just going to open one of these guys here. So we'll double click on 66. Now this actually opens an order, and if we click our button, you can see that it says 20 were found in the recent orders list, and that's what we want to see there. But if I filter the list, now it says 10 were found, and so we can do that kind of thing. And so if you have lots of filters on your forms and you want to be able to interact with whatever the user selected, that's usually the challenge that happens, is that you try to program these things, but then the user has filtered down into all these different combinations of things, and you need to set some values or do some programming on the fly, and that's exactly what we want to be able to capture here. So there's our subform. You can see that as I scroll through, it kind of highlights the ID there. We're going to come back to that. Now it highlights it when I click on the forward back buttons, but it won't do it when we actually want to set it here in a moment, but we'll show that in another way. So let's go back to our design view for the form and take a look at a couple of things here. So there is our button. We'll move that out of the way. I think what we should do is we'll build a find first function, and that's going to help us to see how this works. And so let's drop a text box on our form here, and we'll do a little bit of design. We'll move it around. We'll put some text in here. We'll just say this find in here, and what we're going to do is we're going to have this unbound text box, and we're going to show that we can get a value from there, and we can use a find first function on, say, a like operator. So we'll use a like operator so that we can find the first order for any customer that has a certain string in their name. We'll do something like that. And so we'll use that after update on our text box, and we'll click the ellipsis and go to the code builder, and that's going to create another subroutine for us, just like we did before, There's our subroutine for the after update event. I also have a video for that. Make sure you check that out. If you want to see how after update works, you're going to get a good demonstration here as well. So here we go. So we'll put a comment at the top. We'll say finds the first record, and what that's going to do is it's going to use the find first function with a like operator and a string for doing a like operation, and we're going to find that first record in the records that are open on the screen in the continuous form. So that's very important. So there we go. We've got a nice little comment there. We'll do the same thing as we did in our previous subroutine there. We'll do an RSC as DAO.recordset, and we'll do fsub as subform, and a string that we can load up for our our search string, and then once we've got that in there, we can start coding. So let's go ahead and set our subform just like we did in the previous subroutine there. We'll set it to me frm order, and we'll do rsc equals fsub.form.recordset clone, just like we did before. And this time we can do things a little bit differently, which is kind of cool. We're not going to use a loop. We're going to instead use a function. But before we get to that, we're going to just close this here at the end of our subroutine, and we'll set that equal to nothing, just so that we don't forget to do that. I always do that at the time that I create it, and we are good to go. Next, let's load up that find string there that we've created, the str find, and that's going to be loaded with the value that whatever the user types into the txt find text box. And of course, now that could be null, so we probably want to go, and since we are loading a string, we can use the nz function, and that is going to account for if they get a null value in there, it'll return an empty string. Now we need to prepare our find string here. Now for a like operator in access, you can use that star. If you're doing this on linked tables to ODBC, you might have to use the %sign. So just be aware of that. In this case, I have an access database, so I can just use the star for the wildcard. So I'm going to put wildcards on each end of our string, so I can type in the start of the string, the end of a string, inside of the string. It's okay, and so we can search that name, that customer name, with any part of the customer name. And the second part of what I'm going to add onto our string is I'm going to put quotes around it, because we actually have to have quotes in our search string so that the where clause will be interpreted properly. And so on we go. We're going to do our rsc.findFirst. So we're going to use that find first method, and we're going to pop in customer name like, and then we can concatenate that with our find string that we have there. And the find string has all the stuff we need for a like operator, and so that's going to go and search through the RecordsetClone clone to find the first instance where this is true. Now we can use a if then statement. We can go if rsc.nomatch, then we can give a message box saying, hey, we didn't find that. Otherwise, or else, we can provide some information about the record or something along those lines, or you can do some record operations, or you can do whatever it is that you need to do that's based on the context of what the user has got themselves selected down to. And so that's where RecordsetClone is really important, is that there are cases where certain programming tasks are almost impossible to do without RecordsetClone, or doing some fancy big function of your own that basically does the same thing. So using RecordsetClone is really great for that. Okay, let's grab that ID. I think I got the right, it is order ID. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to use message box. We'll give the order ID, and we'll say we found, and then for whatever the string was that we actually found based on the partial string that we provided from the text box. So that should be a simple example. So we'll say order, 123 was found for ABC company. And we can do that based off of the list that the user already filtered. And so that's the important part, because that's the hard thing that's usually it's hard to do, is to get that information on the fly. And so there we go. So now we can return that value, and we can optionally also move the sort of selected record in that form. Now, a lot of you guys will probably like this option, is that you can actually move the record to the one that is selected, and then you can do something with that. And so so what I'll do is I'll say, fsub.form.bookmark is equal to the one that we found in our record set clone. And this is like a really nice feature. Make sure that you try that as well. So now we can not only find the the first record that had the string, but we can navigate that subform to go to that record. And so first we're setting that subform variable, then the record set variable. We're getting our find string put together. We're going to use the find first function there, which is awesome. And then we can say, if we didn't find anything, give a message. Otherwise, if we did find something, we're going to do something. In this case, we'll just do a message box, and then we're going to navigate that subform to that record. So that's a pretty cool, nice little feature. I know I've used that a million times, and it's really been like a lifesaver in a lot of cases. So there we go. Let's save that, debug, compile, and away we go. Let's go ahead and close that form, and we'll reopen it as if we are mid-process here. And there we go. We've opened that form, and now what we can do is we can type into our find text box. We can type in PRO, and it gives us, hey, order 63 was found for Prosware Inc. And that is order 63, which is the first one in the list as the list is ordered. So that's, and you'll note also that it navigated to record number 5 there of 20. Now if I type in adven, it says order 65 was found for Adventure Works Cycles, and when I click OK, you'll see that it navigated to record 4 in the list. Now it's not quite as visible on this list, but you can see it down in the navigation controls there. And if I wanted to actually load that record, I could click on the number and it would bring it up in this form. Okay, so now if I type in, say, Wood GR, it'll say order 67 was found for Woodgrove Bank. And when I click OK, it's going to go from 4 to 2 in the record selectors in the bottom there. And that's exactly what we want to see. Note that it will perform this even if the user has chosen to sort the list differently. It will still find it in the right order, and that's really handy. So I can try Tailwind, and that one works too. That's exactly what we want to see, and that's how you can use RecordsetClone with your Access database. Need time collection for your staff and contractors out in the field? Make sure to check out my Bill Zone system. The link is in the description.